Stay there.
What do you get when you gather a robotics maker, a professor of robotics vision, and an intelligent automation expert and ask them questions about the most pressing topics of today? We're about to find out on The Futurist, the robotics episode. Let's meet our contestants. A macro influencer with over 700,000 followers, Danny Loom. Professor of Robotics Vision at University College London, Dan Stoyanov. An AI expert who understands automation better than 98% of the world, Rafa Domini. We're playing a simple game with a major twist. In this tower stacking game, each contestant will pick a block at random. Based on which block you pick, you may be asked a robotics-related question. One thing about this tower stacking game is there are no winners. But there is absolutely a loser. Whoever knocks down the tower first loses. Let's get started.
All right. When I walked in here, it felt like a Squid Games episode. Playing this tower game in a room filled with lights and cameras, I felt like the stakes were higher and I had to perform at a higher level. It falls over on the first thing. That was a quick game, guys.
Let's see what doesn't move this time. My strategy was just to really grip my teeth, try to take a block out, and then hope that one of the other contestants makes a mistake before me.
My strategy was to make it easy for me and a little difficult for them. So I was giving them advice that it was good for me, not for them. So yes, I'm competitive. I always try to win.
How should we be educating our kids to be prepared for a world with more AI and robotics?
What I would recommend is for them to know how technology works. They don't need to know how to build AI or how to build digital systems, but they need to understand the technology. Help them to understand critical thinking, innovation, and also things like ethics. So those are the key things that I would recommend, so they are ready for whatever comes in the future.
Easy work.
Yeah, I spotted it.
As a maker, you've built many robots, including a 3D printed wearable Iron Man suit. You have to tell us about it.
Ever since I was a kid, I always loved math and science, but it wasn't until I saw the first Iron Man movie where I was really inspired to be an engineer. I was like, I want to do that. I got to build a suit one day. And eventually I did. I honed my craft and I got really into 3D printing and I worked on an Iron Man suit. And it was great to me to see that movie and give me a path to pursue engineering. So now I'm hoping that some of my videos about being a maker in robotics inspires future engineers to pursue that path.
You're the professor of robot vision. What does that mean?
Vision is one of the primary sensors that we as humans use to interact with the environment, to make decisions, to navigate it. And so robot vision is really about developing algorithms and capabilities that allow robots to use cameras as sensors that then infer information about the environment and to do useful things within that environment.
My first impression about Dan was, it really impressed me that he's a professor and working on a company doing what he's doing. He's amazing.
Super. You're picking them well.
Yeah.
It's too easy.
It's too easy.
It's too easy.
He looked wiggly, so.
How does robotics help you learn about engineering?
Robotics involves a lot of different types of engineering. And the projects that I work on, I like to classify it as mechatronics engineering. So that involves mechanical, electrical, and software. And working with multidisciplinary engineering fields is really important because when you're a full-time engineer, you're going to be working with engineering fields of all different disciplines.
Wow. I kind of had a gut feeling that you might be able to do it really fast or like punch them out, but I was never quite brave enough to do it. And with that last one, I just couldn't take it anymore and I thought I'd give it a go.
What's the most profound or meaningful example of digitized surgery that you've seen?
whether it's technology that's able to detect a critical structure and help the surgeon to avoid risk, or whether it's an instrument that allows the surgeon to operate with minimal trauma. I think all of these have been really, really amazing to see used in practice.
How can companies use robotics to better engage with their customers?
There's many places where you can use robotics, but the whole intention behind it is to simplify the life of the customer, understanding very well the customer needs, understanding their history, understanding the things that they're going through, so you can provide that information to the bot dealing with the customer to make that interaction meaningful and help it on that interaction. And on top of all these things, to understand also what else, how can you make your products and services better than what you have now.
Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
What features make a good robot?
So there are many features that make a good robot. Usually robots have sensors to understand the environment, and then a microcontroller or something that can be programmed to tell all of the different motors or devices to act based off of information gained from those sensors. Also, robots are really good at replacing human effort and making things easier. So anything that feels repetitive or redundant, or you need to be really precise with, robots are excellent at. So this is my robot Boomy. This is like my first big project that I did on social media that sort of took off. But this was like my first stepping stone to teaching myself about robotics and exploring about electronics and software and everything that goes into building a robot. People would comment like, oh, this is like watching like a father raise his son or whatever, because they would see the robot like fall apart and like all the failures along the way. Definitely really attached to this project since it was like my first success and I learned a lot from it.
Was there an aha moment when you really saw the potential of how robotics could impact surgery?
If you've ever tried using normal keyhole surgery instruments, it's like using chopsticks. So you hold the instrument and then you move it down and the instrument moves up. And not only that, you're actually looking at a screen over there and operating on a patient over here. And so that was very, very difficult. As an engineer practicing with these instruments, it was incredibly difficult to imagine how surgeons actually do surgery. When you use the robot, you can just see the articulation of the instruments, you can sit comfortably, you're almost controlling joysticks, and then the instruments can articulate within the patient. And so the capability of these new robotic instruments was really mind-blowing.
How can robotics help create adaptable customer experiences?
Robotics is really important in order to help organization. The whole intention is to anticipate and to understand what customers may need based on their behavior, their needs, their usage of your services, etc. So what robotics can do, and intelligent automation in general, is to gather all that information, process in the proper way, and do recommendations saying, okay, this is the next best action for a customer. You can make all these bots and these robots and these automations more intelligent and capable to do more things. We reach a situation now where you can automate nearly anything, and we're going to do more.
Unfortunately, I don't think my engineering degree helped out too much today. It's more about hand-eye coordination and a little bit of luck.
I thought I was going to be the one losing because I said, okay, this last one, I cannot do it. And I was not expecting to be able to take one block more. Ooh, good job.
Nice.
What do you think will be the hardest part of surgery to replicate with robotics?
There are lots of parts of surgery that are very difficult to replicate with robotics. One of the reasons is that the anatomy is so deformable. So when you're working with soft tissues, things change very rapidly. And so being adaptive to that is extremely complicated. The other important point is that we're not trying to replace surgeons with robotics. We're trying to help surgeons to have better instrumentation. It's about augmenting or improving what they can do.
No! We came, we played, we learned how robots are shaping both business and medicine. Thanks for joining us for this episode of The Futurist, brought to you by Medtronic. See you next time.